Divine Feminine. Can I be honest with you for a second? The connection coming toward you is so powerful, so rare, that people are going to feel it before they even understand it. It's the kind of bond that shifts the energy in a room, the kind where you and this person become the quiet center of gravity without even trying. And yes, some people are going to stare. Some will wonder what the two of you have that they don't. And others, especially someone from this person's past, will feel the shift the moment your energies align, even if they're nowhere near you. But don't let that scare you, because what the two of you share is something they've never experienced and something they can't touch. This is the kind of connection that doesn't just shine. It elevates, protects, and transforms you both. Hello, soul family. Welcome to Spiritual Manifestation. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, I'm glad to have you home. I just want to take a moment to say how grateful I am that you're here, because the energy that's already coming through feels powerful, and I can tell this message is meant for someone who truly needs it today. Before we dive in, a quick reminder. If you feel called to go deeper, the extended readings and extra guidance are always available on Patreon and through YouTube memberships. That's where we get into the longer, more personal layers of these messages, and it's a beautiful space to connect on a deeper level. And while you're here, don't forget to support the channel by liking this video, leaving a comment below, and sharing this reading with someone who may need to hear it. Your energy in this community makes such a difference, and I love reading your thoughts and reflections. Now let's go ahead and shuffle the deck together. Spirit, we ask you to guide us in this moment, to bring through the clearest and most aligned messages for those listening. As I set the energy for this reading, I can already feel the cards beginning to stir, and I know something important is ready to come through. Okay. Wow, Divine Feminine. The card I just pulled for you is the Lovers, and my heart is already full just holding this energy. Because what's coming through right now is so rare, so specific, that I almost don't have words for how sacred it feels. This connection, it's not something that happens every day. In fact, I don't think I've ever channeled something quite like this before. So if this found you, please know, I believe it was meant to. This message won't be for everyone, but if it is for you, you'll feel it. You'll feel it in your chest. You'll feel it in your soul. You'll feel it in that quiet place inside you that's been waiting for something real. What I'm seeing so clearly is the presence of two souls, two incredibly beautiful souls who have been walking such similar paths, but they've been doing it separately, almost like two stars orbiting in their own galaxies, unaware that they're slowly being pulled closer and closer together. You are one of these souls, and the other? I can only describe them as your mirror, not just in love, but in spirit. This person feels like someone who, just like you, has carried a heart that stays soft no matter what it's been through. Someone who has every reason to be hardened, but chose to stay open. Someone who's been through things that would have made most people shut down, but somehow they didn't. Somehow they kept believing in love, in goodness, in healing, in light. I want to say this clearly. This connection is not naive. That's important. Because I feel like both you and this person have been misunderstood. In the past, People have looked at your light, your joy, your generosity, your childlike laughter, and mistaken it for inexperience or weakness. But what they don't know is that this light was hard-earned. It was forged through pain, through darkness, through walking through things in your early years that you don't talk about often. Things that made you question if love like this even existed. And yet, here you are, still open, still radiant, still soft. I'm seeing a glow around the both of you, this shared frequency that feels like warmth and gentleness and safety. And there's something about your presence that just radiates this quiet magnetism. I keep getting this visual of two people who walk into a room and everything else just fades. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. It's just this undeniable gravity that pulls all the attention in your direction, not because you're trying to stand out, but because when you're together, you shine. You become the center of gravity, not in an egoic way, but in that sacred, undeniable way where even strangers can sense something divine is happening here. I heard something as I was channeling this. You were being pulled together by the gravity of your hearts. I love that so much because it tells me that this isn't about luck or coincidence. This is about resonance, about frequency, about the way your heart energy has been calling theirs. The more you healed, the more they felt you, and vice versa. And now both of you have dropped deep enough into your hearts, into your truth, that your energies are strong enough to meet in the physical, not just to pass by, not just to almost see each other, but to truly meet, to connect, to stay. But here's the thing that makes this all so powerful. This isn't some dreamy fantasy. This is grounded. This is spirit saying, yes, you've both walked through fire, and yes, you've both kept your hearts open anyway. And because of that, you've earned this. You've aligned with this. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. You became the kind of person who was ready to receive a love like this. And now it's here, or it's arriving soon. This might be someone you've just recently met, and everything feels new but strangely familiar. Or it might be someone who's about to walk into your life, seemingly out of nowhere. Either way, Spirit is confirming this is not random. This is the moment the paths finally cross, the moment the stars finally align. And when it happens, it'll feel like exhaling after holding your breath for years. It'll feel like coming home. So let yourself feel this. Let yourself believe it. Because I know you've doubted whether something like this could exist, whether someone out there could actually match the depth, the softness, the kindness in you. But this person, they do. They're just as rare as you are. And now the universe is finally ready to bring you into each other's lives. Let's see where this beautiful connection is leading next. All right. The next card I just pulled for you is the Two of Cups. And immediately this card just washed over me like a quiet knowing, like the feeling of recognizing someone the moment your eyes meet, even if your mind can't quite explain how or why. It's that powerful feeling of being drawn to someone without needing words, without needing proof. And as soon as this card came through, I heard one thing loud and clear. This connection is not new to your soul, it's just new to your eyes. There's something so specific and beautiful about the energy coming in here, When you meet this person, or if you've already met, you're going to feel like time bends a little, like there's this sense that the moment isn't happening for the first time, even though it technically is. I kept hearing the word déjà vu, but it's deeper than that. It's not just this moment feels familiar, it's this soul feels familiar. It's that deep, breath stealing recognition of someone who was written into your life long before you ever arrived here. And the reason it feels that way is because it was. Spirit keeps showing me a moment before you incarnated in this life, when your soul was shown flashes of certain big moments, turning points, relationships, events that would shape your heart. And this connection, this exact meeting, was one of those soul moments. So even though your human self may not remember, your soul does. And that's why when it finally happens in the physical, when your eyes lock or your paths cross, there's going to be something inside of you that just whispers, "It's you, I know you." But here's the thing Spirit wants you to know. You don't have to do anything to make this happen. This isn't something you need to chase or prepare for or figure out. It's not about logic, timing, or effort. It's about openness. Your only job is to let your heart stay soft enough to feel it when it arrives, to not close yourself off when it starts to feel overwhelming or too good to be true. Because this kind of love, it's not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about allowing yourself to be seen and allowing yourself to see them too. What's so wild about this connection is how emotionally synchronized you and this person are. I'm not just talking about having similar thoughts, although there will be some moments of uncanny telepathy, like you were both thinking the same thing at the exact same time. But it's deeper than that. It's emotional mirroring. You might feel off for no clear reason, only to find out later that they were having a hard day. Or you'll feel an unexplained sense of comfort out of nowhere, and later realize they were thinking of you. Even if you haven't known each other for long, there's a soul bond here that's ancient. It goes beyond what the mind can track. And I know for some of you, you've been asking that quiet question, why is it taking so long? Why hasn't it happened yet? And here's what's coming through. This person, this counterpart, was on a detour, a karmic one that had to happen before they could truly meet you in their heart. And what I'm seeing is that for some time, they tried to make something work that was never meant to last. They stayed in a situation that might have looked stable or logical from the outside, but inside they were crumbling. Because their soul knew that wasn't the destination. It was a lesson, a season, not a forever. And you know what makes this so tender? They didn't stay out of selfishness. They stayed out of hope. This is someone who has a good heart, who truly believed that if they just gave enough love, if they just tried hard enough, they could turn that connection into something real. But sometimes we try to build homes in places we were only meant to visit, and that's what happened here. They were trying to force two puzzle pieces to fit when they never really belonged together. And while they were stuck in that, you were over here, waiting, holding space, growing into the person you are now. Spirit is saying that when this connection finally enters your life, or if it already has, it's going to feel like exhaling for the first time in years. Not because everything is perfect, but because it's true. You'll stop needing to explain why your heart always felt like something was missing. You'll stop asking why nothing ever quite worked out before, because this connection is going to feel like an answer. Not the kind you get with words, but the kind you get with soul. And divine feminine, if you're still waiting, let this be your confirmation. It's not just in your head. It's not just wishful thinking. What you're sensing is real. The connection is real. The recognition is real. And so is the love that's coming. Let's see what Spirit wants to show us next. The card I pulled for you now is the Hermit. And the moment this card came out, I heard Spirit say, this was never a delay. This was protection in disguise. There's something so quiet, so deep, so sacred about what's been happening behind the scenes of your life and the life of the one you're meant to share your love with. And I want you to know this. That season of emptiness you felt, that ache of wondering where they were, why nothing resonated, why no connection felt right. It wasn't because something was wrong with you. It was because your soul knew something sacred was being prepared. And not just on your end, but on theirs too. The truth is, this person, your counterpart, got deeply entangled in a karmic situation that wasn't aligned with who they truly are. And the thing is, when someone has a good heart, when someone wants to believe the best in others, they can sometimes stay too long in the wrong places, trying to make it work. That's exactly what happened here. They got caught in something that may have looked like love, but it wasn't built on mutual respect, truth, or soul-level connection. It was built on survival, on illusion, on what looked secure from the outside, but felt deeply empty on the inside. And you were being kept out of karmic entanglements of your own for a reason. That period of your life where you felt numb to dating, or just couldn't connect with anyone no matter how hard you tried, that wasn't you being broken. That was divine intervention. That was Spirit saying, no, not them, not now, not here, because you were meant for something rare, something pure, and letting yourself get entangled in something less than that would have only delayed this meeting even more. You may have asked yourself, why does it feel like I'm invisible when it comes to love? Why do I never seem to get pulled into romance the way others do? And here's what Spirit is showing me. It was because your soul had already chosen. There was already a bond forming in the unseen. Already an energetic promise made between you and this person. And for that to come together, both of you had to stay in your own orbit until the timing was right. But here's the thing, you can't force depth in someone who doesn't want to swim. You can't teach someone to love from the soul if they've only ever loved from the ego. So your person stayed in that karmic space until it broke them open, until they had no choice but to see the truth, until the illusion fell away and they were left with nothing but themselves, and the knowing that this wasn't it. And here's the beautiful part. As they did that, so did you. Every time you chose to return to your own heart instead of settling. Every time you said, I know there's more for me, even if I can't see it yet. Every time you honored your truth and trusted your path even in the silence, you were stepping closer to them. Just like Spirit showed us earlier with those planets pulled in by gravity. That gravitational pull is your heart's. It's not action that brings you together, it's alignment. It's frequency. It's the quiet decision to stay true to yourself, even when it's lonely. But there's something else Spirit wants to remind you of. Keeping your heart open is what keeps this connection alive. Even after it enters your life, even after you start to feel that closeness, don't go into self-protection mode. Don't retreat into doubt or fear. This isn't something that needs to be chased or fixed. It just needs to be received. And it will only feel harmonious when both of you are rooted in your hearts. Because of how much you mirror each other, the moment you start to perform or pretend or disconnect from your heart, they'll feel it, and vice versa. This connection thrives in truth, in softness, in vulnerability. And if that sounds scary, that's okay. You've never done love like this before, neither have they. But that's exactly why it's worth it. So if you're still in that waiting space, please hear me when I say, you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are being protected. Your love story is sacred, and it's unfolding exactly the way it was always meant to. You are being guided, not delayed. And soon, if not already, you will understand why Spirit said, "Not yet," all those times you felt ready. Because now, you're not just ready, you're aligned, and so are they. Before we pull the next card, I just want to pause for a moment and check in with you. How has this been resonating with you so far? If something in these first 3 cards has already spoken to your heart, let me know in the comments. I love reading how these messages meet you right where you are. All right, let's go ahead and see what Spirit has for us as we pull the next card. The card I pulled for this part of your journey is the Queen of Cups. And as soon as I placed this card down, I felt Spirit say, "Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is your brilliance. And this connection will finally show you that." Divine Feminine, let's talk about the way you love. Because it's not casual, and it never has been. You don't just dip your toe into emotion, you dive in fully. You give from the heart. You feel from the soul. And the kind of energy you carry, it's not something most people are prepared to face. Not because you're too much, but because they've been too unwilling to go that deep with themselves. So when you show up as someone who lives with emotional honesty, someone who holds space, who sees clearly, who feels fully, it lights up every place in them where they've been hiding, and instead of being grateful, many just run or project or try to dim your light because they can't handle the reflection you bring. But this connection, this one is different. Because with this person, there is no space for illusions. You couldn't play a role even if you tried, and neither can they. And while that sounds romantic, the truth is, it's also incredibly vulnerable. Because when you can't wear a mask, you have to show up fully. And that's the thing about 2 people who are energetically linked from the heart. When one pulls away or closes off emotionally, the other feels it instantly. There's no pretending. There's no faking. There's just truth. You may have been conditioned by previous lovers, by the world, maybe even by your own fears, to believe that you have to tone it down in love, that your empathy is too much, that your willingness to go deep, to speak honestly, to offer unconditional presence is somehow overwhelming. And so you may have spent years shrinking in some areas, trying to fit into containers that were never meant to hold someone like you. And I get it. When you've been burned by people who couldn't hold your depth, it makes sense that your mind wants to protect you. That part of you that says, maybe I should hide how much I care, or let me not text first, or what if I'm too open again and they leave? That's your fear talking. That's the scar tissue of old stories trying to shield you. But Spirit is telling you right now, this person is not those people. This connection is not that past. And yes, it's scary. It's scary to be fully seen, to not be able to hide the tremble in your voice, to not be able to pretend you're unaffected, to be looked at in a way that strips away every defense. But that's also how the deepest soul growth happens. That's how true love takes root. Not in the games, not in the silence, not in the control, but in radical presence. You are not here to be palatable. You are here to be powerful in your truth. And the person who is meant for you will not be scared of that truth. They will breathe easier because of it. They will find themselves in it. You see, your emotional transparency is not a burden. It's an invitation to step into a higher frequency of connection, one where neither of you has to pretend, one where love is not earned through strategy or performance, but remembered through soul. And if you've had the experience of being too much for others, I want you to pause and really hear this. You were never too much. They were simply not enough for themselves, because the kind of person who has done the inner work, who has met their own shadows, who isn't afraid of feeling fully, they will crave your depth. They will respect your softness. They will protect your openness, not manipulate it. This person is coming into your life, or already has, and they are not going to require you to dilute anything. They won't need you to be quieter, less emotional, less expressive, less intuitive. If anything, they're going to be in awe of how freely you give, how radiant your soul is, how much light you carry simply by being. And here's what I see happening between the two of you: emotional alchemy. The kind of transformation that only happens when two people stand in front of each other with their hearts completely uncovered. Not because they're fearless, but because they trust the connection more than they fear rejection. So when you start to feel the urge to protect yourself with logic, when your mind begins spiraling with what ifs, when you find yourself wondering, should I tone this down? Come back to your heart, because your heart already knows. It's known all along. And when this person looks at you with eyes that say, I see you, I feel you, I'm not going anywhere, you'll realize why it never worked with anyone else. Because this isn't just about romance, it's about remembrance. You're not just falling in love. You're coming home to someone who sees you, all of you, and finally doesn't flinch. Let's see what card Spirit gives us next. The card I pulled for this moment in your journey is the Magician. And the moment this card came out, I heard very clearly, you've always been the key. Divine Feminine, there is something incredibly sacred about the chapter you are now entering. Because for so long, it may have felt like your love life existed in some kind of strange in-between, a liminal space, a holding pattern. Like the universe pressed pause on this one area of your life, and no matter how much you grew, how deeply you healed, how ready you felt, love just didn't seem to arrive in the way you knew it could, in the way your soul whispered it was meant to. You could feel it in your bones, that something was coming, that someone real was out there, that the kind of connection that didn't require you to shrink or edit or question was within reach. But it wasn't arriving, and I feel like for a while, that felt unfair, like maybe you were being overlooked, like you were doing all the inner work, facing your wounds, staying open, choosing truth, choosing growth, and the universe kept saying, just wait. And maybe you got tired of waiting. Maybe you tried to move on. Maybe you tried to settle for something smaller just to feel something, but your soul wouldn't let you. Something in you always pulled back, always whispered, no, this isn't it. And now we understand why. Because Spirit wasn't punishing you. You weren't being overlooked. You were being protected. Protected from paths that would have pulled you out of alignment. Protected from people who would have diluted your light. Protected from timelines that would have scattered your magic. And the card that's arrived to affirm all of this is the Magician, which is the embodiment of spiritual power meeting grounded action. It's not just about manifesting what you desire. It's about becoming what you desire. And Divine Feminine, you have become it. You didn't just wish for love, you prepared for it. You didn't just long for a soulmate, you built a life where that love would have room to grow. You kept choosing to live from your heart in a world that tried to numb you. You kept holding space for your truth, even when others didn't know how to meet it. And most of all, you kept loving. Quietly, fiercely, softly. You never let this world harden you. And that, in itself, is a radical act of courage. And that's the truth of what this person brings into your life. They don't complete you. They reflect you. They don't distract you from your purpose. They amplify it. This is not someone who derails your energy or pulls you out of alignment. This is someone whose presence feels like clarity, like ease, like coming home to yourself more deeply than you ever have before. And it's not because they're perfect, or because you'll never feel triggered again, but because you've done the work. You're not entering this connection from a place of needing someone to fix you, save you, or validate you. You're showing up whole, and so are they. And from that space, the love that forms isn't chaotic or codependent. It's conscious, it's rooted, it's alive. You may notice that this person doesn't feel like a spark in the traditional sense. They feel like a flame, constant, steady, warm. They feel like sitting beside a fire on a cold night, like something in you relaxes just by being near them. Like your nervous system exhales, finally. And that's because this is not the kind of love that burns you. This is the kind of love that sustains you. And I want you to know something else too. This person sees your strength. But more than that, they honor your softness. They respect how you move through life with integrity, how you choose honesty even when it's hard, how you've turned pain into wisdom and heartbreak into healing. They're not intimidated by your depth. They're drawn to it because they've done the work to hold their own. They're not looking for someone to impress. They're looking for someone to build with. And when the two of you meet in this timeline, as the Magician card suggests, it won't be about trying to make it work. It will just work because there's already so much spiritual harmony between your energies. It will feel natural to grow together, to dream together, to co-create together. You'll start to notice that everything in your life feels more expansive with them around. Your ideas flow easier. Your joy feels brighter. Your intuition sharpens. Not because they are the source, but because they are a mirror of how powerful you've always been. This is the kind of connection where love becomes your foundation, not your fixation. Where you rise together without losing yourselves. Where passion and peace coexist. And where the most radical act is also the simplest one. Being yourselves together. So if you're here, if you're reading this, if this message is resonating, congratulations. You've crossed a threshold. You've shifted timelines. And what's ahead of you is not a fantasy. It's not a hope. It's not a maybe. It's real, and it's already on its way. Let's see what card comes next. The final card I pulled for this reading is the Ten of Pentacles. And oh, divine feminine, this is it. This is the moment where everything begins to make sense. This is where all of your past heartbreaks, your silent seasons, the long nights where you cried and asked the universe why. This is where it all starts to feel like it was leading somewhere, because it was leading here. The Ten of Pentacles is a card of lasting abundance, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. It's a card that says, you've built the foundation, and now the harvest is ready. And in this case, the harvest is a love that reflects back all the light you've been pouring out into the world for so long. Let's begin with the presence of this person in your life. Because when I tell you this is going to change everything, I mean it. But not in the way you might expect, not through drama or chaos or a sudden whirlwind. No, this change will feel like peace, like alignment, like you're suddenly walking on a path you always knew was yours, but it was just waiting for the right timing, the right frequency, the right you. And now you're here. But here's the thing, not everyone will be able to celebrate this with you. Spirit is showing me a very clear message about someone from the past. Specifically, someone who once held space in the life of the person now entering yours. This karmic energy, they'll feel the shift. Even if they don't physically see you, they'll sense it. They'll feel the release, the realignment, the peace your counterpart finds when they step into connection with you. And it's going to stir something in them. Envy, comparison, regret. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because your energy is going to reveal everything they weren't willing to be. This person from their past may have operated from a place of control or protection or ego, always keeping walls up, always guarding their heart. But you, divine feminine, are the opposite. You radiate openness, generosity, emotional clarity. You lead with love. And even from a distance, that contrast will be felt. But here's what's beautiful. That karmic energy, it holds no power anymore. It might try to rattle the edges of this connection, but the bond you're forming is rooted in something far deeper. There are no cracks to slip through, because this isn't about holding on tightly. It's about showing up fully. You and this person are stepping into something sacred, and no outside noise can touch that. Now let's talk about what this connection activates in you, because this isn't just about love, it's about legacy. When this person comes into your life, it's like a door opens, not just to their heart, but to new timelines, new possibilities. You may start to notice an increase in opportunities, a flow of abundance, a renewed sense of motivation. It's almost like your energy becomes supercharged, not because you need them to complete you, but because their presence aligns with the life you've been building. And when two aligned souls come together, they don't just love, they expand. This is someone who amplifies your purpose, who believes in your dreams, who invests in your growth. And what's even more powerful, you do the same for them. This is a connection of mutual elevation, a divine balance where both of you are rooted, whole, and able to pour into each other without fear of depletion. You lift each other. And the more you love, the more you rise. There's a part of this message that also speaks to healing, because I know in the past you've experienced connections where you were the giver, the light, the emotional anchor, and often you watched as others received your energy, your wisdom, your heart, and they thrived. But you were left drained, diminished, forgotten. This time will be different. This time the upliftment goes both ways. This time you receive as much as you give. This time your light doesn't get dimmed, it gets reflected. This is reciprocity. This is real. And I want to close by reminding you, everything that brought you here, every moment that felt like it was tearing you apart, every goodbye you didn't want to say, every time you chose yourself when it would have been easier to settle, all of that was leading to this, to them, to the version of you who could receive this kind of love without fear, the version of you who doesn't shrink in the face of being seen, the version of you who knows, really knows, that they are worthy of being chosen, not for what they can offer, but simply for who they are. So if this message has found you, if your heart is resonating, if you feel a sense of remembering as you read this, then this isn't just a prediction, it's an activation. You are already in motion. You are already aligning. This love is already on its way. And when it arrives, it won't be chaos. It will be clarity. It will be peace. It will be home. That's what the Ten of Pentacles is all about. Not just having love, but keeping it, growing it, protecting it, and knowing deep in your soul that you are finally where you belong. This is the kind of ending that feels like a beginning. And it is, okay? This feels like a beautiful place to close the reading. What we've seen here is a reminder that your energy is powerful, your journey is guided, and spirit is always working in ways you may not fully see yet. Trust that what is meant for you will always find its way, and you don't need to chase. Just allow yourself to stay aligned and open. If you feel called to dive deeper, the exclusive and extended version of our readings are available right now on Patreon and through YouTube memberships. That's where we really expand on these messages and explore the layers that spirit couldn't fit into this space. Also, don't forget to check out the community posts and today's energy reading updates. I love connecting with you there and hearing how these messages meet you in your own journey. Drop your comments below, share your personal requests, and let me know how this reading spoke to you. And if you'd like to keep the energy flowing, I've linked some other videos here that I know will guide and encourage you. I'll see you in the next reading. Bye for now.